from the cloth. I'm going to try to use it as my sleeve. You see, it's folded. So basically fold it into two again, and then I'm going to fold it again this way, right? And then because if you look at the picture, you'll see that her sleeve is not a long sleeve. So basically what I have to do is to find halfway through this point here, mark it this way, and make sure that this fits my armhole divided by 2. It fits in here plus extra 1 inch, and then I'm going to just go up here by 4 inches, and then from this point I'm going to connect a line to the end like this. Halfway through that line is going to be so this is 12 inches, half of it is 6. Give it a curve above and a curve below, right? And then down here, insert my sleeve width divided by 2 plus 1. Mark that, connect it just like this. So guys, you see, this part is just for me to show you guys how I'm able to use this and still cut out sleeve, because right now this fabric is almost finished. But that's why I said you need, if you want to make this style, you need to be sure you have at least 6 yards. Not that you will use the whole thing, but at least you need to have 6 yards. So I'm going to cut this part also. So you see, at this point I have my sleeve. So the point is just to manage as much as you can, right? So this one now, I'm going to set it aside, maybe for my belt or something. So now I have my sleeve. What I'm going to do is just to take this now, go to the sewing machine, dart the back. So guys, but before we do the darting, let me show you guys one thing else you have to do. Remember, the back of your back is shorter, or is shorter than the front. So you're going to go from the tip of the shoulder. That's what I like to do. And then I'm going to subtract about 1 inch or 1.5 depending on the length you have for your back. You can measure from your shoulder to your back, the waistline there, and then you're going to blend it into the end of this part here. So this will help your back not to, because if you leave this length like this, the back of the dress will just fall low and then it will not look nice. The flare will come down, it will not flatter your back. So it's better to cut it off and then blend it in this way into the edge, because this edge is still going to meet the side of the front. So the two sides will meet each other. You see, the two sides of this armhole is going to be the part where you sew close. So you don't want to shorten the length on this side. That's why you always blend it in equally, right? So cut this part now out and still have my darts there. So I'm going to cut this out now and still notch it back, because my dart is going to be coming in here. So that's basically it. Now I'm going to go ahead, put in all my darts, join this, put in my sleeve, and then we'll come back for the flounce part of it. You see, I've joined this now. So the next thing you're going to do is to cut a fabric that is folded into two like this, right? Folded like this. The length is supposed to be, let's say, about 4 inches is what you're going to need. Like a fabric on a fold, 4 inches, right? Like this. So you see, mine is folded into two this way. So the next thing you're going to do after that is to, so we've talked about the length. This is going to be our collar. So how you're going to determine the length of this now, we've talked about the width. So the length you need is just to fold the neck of this, your top, into two this way, the center back, and then you are going to check how many inches down your neck you want this collar to come down. So I would normally do like 3 inches or at most 3.5. So this is the neckline here. You see, you fold it into two. This is the center back. This is where the two shoulder joins, and then this is the front part. So you're going to measure like 3 inches down from here, and then measure around your neck what it is. So for me it's 6.5. So 6.5 is what I need for the collar. So that's the length of my collar on a fold. So you fold the fabric into two this way and mark 6.5, and then you're going to mark the 6.5 here, and then you need half an inch to sew the edge, and then you need extra 1 inch. So that 1 inch is just for you to be able to get that angle that comes with collar, right? That's just the whole purpose of this 1 inch. So remember, we had half an inch here. So first let me just mark. So first we have 6.5, which was the collar, right? I'm going to mark that, and then I'm going to mark my 1 inch extra. The 1 inch that 1 inch is supposed to be marked at the top of this part. So basically I'm going to just put that same 6.5 here, then I'm going to mark 1 inch here. So once you mark that from this point, now you're now going to add your half an inch of seam allowance, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to cut it out now. This is just, that 1 inch is just for us to be able to have that pointy part of this collar, because remember, the bottom and the top of your collar is never the same size. The upper part always has like some extension to it, so that it will help give you that angle when the collar is folded into two like this. You see, when it's folded into two like this. So now what I'm going to do is just to turn this around, go to the sewing machine, use half an inch to sew this close, flip it out, and then I'm going to notch the center, right guys? I'm going to notch the center, and then I'm going to take that center and also notch the center of the back of my collar like this. I'm going to notch the center of the back of my collar, so that once I open it up, you guys are seeing that notch that I made at the center of my collar. I'm just going to place this together like this. Just place it like this, where the collar notch is meeting each other, and then I'm going to sew it down. Sew it down to this point, and then turn around, sew this one down to the wherever it ends. But by then, guys, remember, you've already sewed this close, ironed it out, right? You're going to use this half an inch, close it up, flip it inside out before you join it to the body. So once you do that, I'll come back and show you guys how you're going to now finish the whole neckline. So guys, now that I've sewed this down, you see, guys, you can make your collar a little bit shorter if you want to, because I'm thinking maybe I should reduce the length of mine. You can reduce yours a little bit and make it, maybe instead of using 4 inches of fold, you can use 3.5, right? So so that when you fold it and sew, you will have 3 inches left for the collar length. So it depends on you, but just remember that it will still be folded this way, right? So now guys, the next thing you have to do is just to take your bias, right? You're still going to just take your bias this way. The way this thing is now, like this, you see, it's sewn this way. I'm just going to start from one edge like this and use my bias to just sew all the way down like this, all the way down around my neckline. Sew it down, and then once you finish sewing, remember how you joined bias, right? You sew the first stitch, and then the other one, you use it to turn it over this way and just sew down all the way. So I'm going to use my bias to finish up the neckline, and then I know that my bodice is done. I've already made a belt for it, and then a loop or opening on one side for it. So I'm going to just set this aside, and then guys, the next thing is the skirt part, right? So how you're going to cut the flounce, because the top is already done. It's just to cut the flounce that we need to join to it. So basically, you need to measure. So you're going to put this back the way it was, and then you need to measure the edge, right? You need to measure from the edge all the way round what you have. Guys, like I said, this takes a lot of fabric. This style, my 6 yards is almost finished. So guys, you're going to measure from this edge all the way down to that point. So you're going to measure all the twice. So whatever you get on the first round, you're going to times it by 2, because it's for two sides, right? Instead of going around to measure it one after the other, you can just measure one round and then times it by 2. So whatever you get, I'm going to measure mine now. So guys, what I got for mine is 78, but the one on the inside, I'm not going to bring it up to about 5 inches in, because you don't want a ruffle, that you don't want the ruffle inside of the cloth. So like 5 inches in from the edge, there will not be any ruffle on the one that is going to go inside. So I'm going to skip about 5 inches in and just fold that part, and then my ruffle on the inside is going to start somewhere here and then go all the way out. So that 78 that I got, I'm going to times it by 2, so that will be about 156. So that 156, let's say I take away that 5 inches I just spoke about now from it, or you can just put your ruffle all the way. It depends on you what you want to do. So, but it's better to stop at least 5 or 6 inches inside of your clothes, because that ruffle is going to, imagine where there is ruffle inside and this one is overlapping, it's going to bulk up inside of the other one, right? So that's why it's better to stop ahead of time before you get to the inside, because that part that is going to ruffle up is going to be the lower part of your tummy. It will look bulky inside, and it will make you look like you have tummy, like big tummy. So what I'm going to do now is to take that 156 and subtract about 5 inches, that 5 inches from it, so it's going to be 153. So I'm going to now use that 153 to cut my flounce. So guys, what you're going to do now is to go ahead and cut out flay that will be enough for that. So guys, this is my own way of doing it. Guys, you can just fold this into two like the way we did before, how we were cutting this skirt, and try to cut your flay that way. But I'm going to just cut mine the best way that I can that will save me fabric. So that's basically what I'm going to do now. So remember what I did. My flay was supposed to be 9 inches, but I added 1.5 to it, so I'm working with 10.5. So I'm going to cut it in form of a full circle, right? So I'm going to just fold it into four, sorry. You can do yours anyhow you want. The main thing is just to get your flounce, but just know you're cutting it in form of a circle. So any method that works for you is fine. So it depends on you what you want to do. Like I said before, that measurement you got, instead of, because there's no way you can cut that 156 once. You can't cut it once. So you can start with the 78 that you got, divide it by 6.28 if you're cutting on half a circle, and then you cut the first flounce, you join it, and then you fold again, you cut another one until it's enough. Or you can do it by 2, like on a fold of 2, and cut by 3.14. So I'm just going to start to cut out layers of flay that is about 10.5 inches. That's basically what I'm going to just do now. So guys, you see what I did here? I just marked to see how many 10.5 I can fit into this part here. So I just folded the fabric into 4 and then marked the first 10.5. I figured 10.5 will fit in here for me. Marked it again, and then I came up again, another 10.5 will fit in here, marked that here. So, and then I just placed my tape here and marked the first round of 10.5, and then marked again the second round of 10.5. So now I can get out 2 flays from this particular one. Guys, if you have another suggestion on how to get a flounce by managing your fabric, you can suggest to us in the comment section. And so this particular one I'm using here is just how I feel will get me a lot of flay, trying to use like the least amount of fabric, because guys, the fabric is almost finished. I'm even worried if it will be enough for me to do what I need to do. So this one here is another flay. So you see the good thing about this is now we have this one, the first flay. Now we have another one at the top, right? All we have to do, I know this one on top is even too small, but I'm just going to split it open, join it. It's still flay. So we are going with this one too, as we are also going with this one now. So let me split this open now. You see, all you have to measure, you see, we have this one open like this, you see. So what you're measuring now is just to measure this top part here and see what you have. I don't know, this might be up to one of the 78 that we are working with, right? It should be more or less, I don't know. So you see, I'll measure and see what I have. So far I have 40 plus 40 is 80, and then plus whatever I have from this one, which is like 11, right? So 80 plus 11, that's 91. So we still have about let's say almost 60 more to go. So that means I need to do maybe another round of this particular one, or instead this time around just do one side of it, right? And then I will have my complete flay. So that's basically how you're going to do it. So guys, I'm going to go ahead now and try to cut out more, and then I'll put everything together and start to join it at the lower part of my skirt. So you see what mine looks like. You see, it's exactly like the one on the picture. You see, it's exactly what we are looking for here. So guys, you see what I did here? From that part that I cut out their first circle, I tried to insert another 10.5 length in here from this distance to this distance. This is just me trying to manage fabric again. So I'm just going to cut this part out, and there's another layer of, it might not be the most circle part, but at least it still gives me something that looks exactly like that flounce. But you can fold yours and cut it. I'm just trying to show you guys another way that I'm going to try to manage fabric and cut this out. So now once I cut this out, I think it will be enough for me because the width here is wide enough. I'm going to join everything together and start to sew. So I'm going to bring it back after I've coupled everything together and show you guys what it looks like. This is it here. I've gone ahead and finished up the dress. So you see, when I use the bias to sew this, I just sewed it behind it. You see, just fold your bias and have this in between and just keep sewing, and then you come back around and continue. This is just a continuous bias all the way around. So that's basically how I did this. And then you're going to skip a stitch, about 1 inch opening in between the side seat stitch, and then that will be the loop for where this belt will come out from. And that's basically it for this dress, guys. This took more than it's like almost 6 yards. There's nothing left of this fabric, and you could see where all of them went to. So that's basically it, and thank you guys so much for your time. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.